the most common questions that I get is, how can I keep my container plants healthy and looking good and blooming well all summer long? Or anytime. It's really important to feed container plants on a regular basis. They don't have their roots in the ground like other plants so that they can assimilate nutrients from the soil. They're really dependent on what we provide for them. And while most good quality potting soil has a lot of nutrients in it, that gets leached out rather quickly and the plants are looking for more food. And so there are a number of things that you can do to provide nutrients for your plants. One of the simplest is just to put compost around the base of the plant. A half-inch or so of compost will add moisture. It'll retain moisture in the plants, but every time you water then, that compost is making a compost tea that leaches in and provides roots. It also provides microbes to the plant roots that help them assimilate nutrients, and it will help to keep the plants from being as stressed. Now, it is important with all of these things I'm talking about to make sure that you're leaving an inch or so at the lip of the container so that when you put water in, you can really fill the pot with water. So don't put your compost or mulch up to the top level of the soil because you just won't be able to get enough water in. Now, mulching, adding mulch to the top of the container is especially important when it gets really hot. Your plants will dry out very quickly and you can sometimes need to water twice a day. So adding a half-inch to an inch of compost and then another inch or so of mulch around the base of the plants will keep them from getting really stressed. But don't add the mulch and compost too close to the trunk of plants because that can actually smother the trunks and cause diseases. So those work really well. Now, another great thing to feed your plants is seaweed. Seaweed has over 70 different trace minerals. It has growth hormones. It has so many wonderful compounds and all plants love it. It doesn't have a bad smell. Now, fish emulsion is a great fertilizer too, but boy, your plants are going to smell for days, and sometimes it attracts cats and other predators that you might not want in the garden. So give your plants about a monthly feeding of seaweed and they will really like it. And it's only a teaspoon per gallon, so a container like this lasts a long time. I do prefer to buy this powdered seaweed. It's more economical than buying it already mixed. Another great thing to add to your water is apple cider vinegar. A tablespoon or so to a gallon will help to neutralize the high pH of the soil, and it has acetic acid, which helps to feed plants and makes minerals in the soil more available to the plant. So it's a great source of nutrients. Now, another thing I like to add to my plants, especially acid-loving plants like the citrus trees or gardenias or hibiscus or roses that are in containers or even in the ground, is coffee grounds. Just save those coffee grounds. I like to let the paper dry out a little bit and then I dump the coffee grounds in the top of the pot. The paper filters can go into the compost pile, especially if they're unbleached. And then the coffee grounds are adding a great nitrogen fertilizer to your plants and keeping them nice and green and healthy. Tea grounds can be used in the same way. I prefer to buy bulk tea and then make that in a tea basket in my teapot, but you can also use tea bags. Another way you could use coffee in tea is actually put them in your watering can and brew a brew, just leave them overnight, brew a tea and then add that to your plants, and that will make a quick acting feed. But you can also just put the grounds on the top of the soil and use them as mulch. Earthworm castings are another excellent way to feed your plants. They don't have a strong smell and they're great for indoor plants too. They have just a wide variety of nutrients, and plants really appreciate a half-inch or so of earthworm castings on a regular basis. If your plants are drying out too much, try using a product called Vacation to keep them from drying out quite as quickly. So all these tips will help you keeping your container garden plants as healthy and as green as possible. For Backyard Basics, I'm Trisha Shirey. Thanks for joining us.